NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series Season number 4 race from St. Louis in Gateway Motorsports Park. And we are officially all up and running for a brand new track here on the Cup Series calendar. This is Gateway in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series, and we welcome you live to St. Louis tonight, Worldwide Technology Raceway, if you want to call it that as well. It's got like 3 different names, but whatever. It is Gateway, and it's a brand new track on the Cup Series calendar like we mentioned before. As we welcome you into the broadcast booth, this is, of course, race number 8 of the Cup Series season. And we'll be underway from Gateway shortly. Last night, the trucks were, of course, at Lime Rock Park for their second race of the 5-race challenge Holes mini-series that we have in the Truck Series. Xfinity was off this week, so it was just the Truck Series. There was iCar on Tuesday, and then, of course, we got the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series tonight. Race number 8 of season number 4, and we're just about ready to go from St. Louis today. We're going to be going through what you have to expect in today's races, the race format, everything like that, as we prepare for the first race ever in the Cup Series from Gateway. Of course, coming off of Darlington last week, a lot of drivers needing some rebounds here tonight. What a chaotic race of attrition it was in Darlington. We don't really know what to expect out of Gateway tonight. We did have preseason thunder here, though, in the past, so that's a bit of some prior knowledge, but that's all we have. We did also have a Truck Series race, but of course we can't really learn anything from that because it's the NASCAR truck. But we are just about ready to go from St. Louis. Of course, we're going to have Cole Clausen here as an in-race reporter. We're also going to have Landon Johnson as an in-race reporter as well. He did part of the Truck Series race last night, so he does have some prior experience with that. All right, we're heading to Gateway in just a couple of moments. Stay tuned. The NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series Season number 4 race from St. Louis is coming right up. All right, welcome live to Gateway here in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. Cars are on track here in St. Louis. The first one, the 7 of Matthew White, and we are live from St. Louis, Missouri. Cars are on the racetrack here from Worldwide Technology Raceway, and Matthew White will head down the front straightaway. All right, so we're, of course, here up for the warm-up session first, then we head into 2-lap qualifying, and then we will go to the race, 150 laps for tonight. Matthew White is up the racetrack here in the 7. Oh, and Cole Clausen already taking a bit of a bathroom break on the back straightaway. White will slide off corner exit. Here is the hometown kid, Braden Hunsicker. First home race for him at St. Louis. He actually races inside of the kart track here in real life, so got some prior experience technically here at St. Louis in Gateway. As he will roll down this front straightaway. Back into turns number 1 and 2. white so far. The only one to put down the lap time. Here comes the 88. That is Landon Johnson. We're going to have drivers in the booth, like I mentioned, Landon Johnson and Cole Clausen. Cole Clausen's taking a bathroom break in the back straightaway here. So, all right, guys, it's a brand new track on the Cup Series calendar. We also, I forgot to mention this, the field is going to be probably very, very light here. The lightest field we've had in the Cup Series in an extremely long time, probably the last 30 or so races, due to the fact that most people don't actually own this track. And yeah, other things like that. Some people aren't able to make the race anyways, but that's what we got for tonight. But guys, it's St. Louis. What do we expect here with these 150 laps from Gateway?
Well, I hope it's pretty calm since we're probably not going to have a ton of people here, but I think anything can happen here at Gateway. It's a pretty interesting track. It's the second egg-shaped oval in a row where both corners aren't exactly the same and one is longer than the other, so that's pretty interesting. But these corners can be pretty slow, and you know, during the day it's pretty loose, but at night it definitely the track conditions feel pretty good. So we're gonna see how this race goes.
Yeah, so of course this is kind of one of the we haven't had a whole lot of day races tonight. I should say this season. This is one of them. We're going to be on a streak of 3 of them in a row next week in Chicagoland and then at Michigan. After that, we head to the Charlotte 600 for the next points race. So then we have Iowa, Nashville. Those are all going to be night races as well. As Braden Hunsaker will head down into turns number 1 and 2. There is Dylan Banks here on the back straightaway. There's the 8 of Cameron Chandler. That's the wrong number for Joseph Tucker. There is the 9, that is Bryce Benton. 71 of Cole Clausen here down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Another thing we forgot to mention is that the driver of the 99, Payson Lindsay, has been suspended for tonight's NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series race from St. Louis after some of the actions he had in the Truck Series race last night. So suspension is now underway for him. 1 race suspension tonight in Gateway. As Braden Hunsaker looks to go to the bathroom on the back straightaway. Looking at the board so far, you got Cameron Chandler top. Here's Bryce Benton spinning. Hunsaker second, Benton third, White fourth. Clausen rounds out your top 5. And here comes Landon Johnson down the front straightaway. Makes his way through 1 and 2. Definitely a very interesting racetrack. I guess it's kind of shaped similar to Darlington, but Darlington, of course, has a whole lot more banking than they do here at St. Louis, so it's going to be a little bit more simple and not as probably too tough to tame as we had in Darlington last week.
Yeah, but I feel like this track's just as slick, though, especially during the day.
Yeah, they haven't had a whole lot of day running here in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series so far this season, or at least early season. Now 7 races in. As they head down the back straightaway, there's the 48 of Dylan Banks. But we ran this preseason Thunder here at Gateway in the night, so we don't really have experience in the day here. Also ran the Truck Series here at night as well. And it's a very sunny 80-degree late April day here in St. Louis. Through turns number 1 and 2 will go Dylan Banks in the 48. There's the 8 of Chandler way up the racetrack, nearly to the wall. I can go through some of the notable drivers that we're actually going to be missing tonight. It's a pretty decently long list. Connor Havrilla, Trenton Wilkins, Sean Hillquich. We're also going to be missing Ethan McMillan. This just confirmed things as well. As we got a car here on the back straightaway, that is the 94 of CJ Erdman. Some more drivers that we're going to be missing tonight. The 70, or actually I already mentioned Ethan McMillan. As Landon Johnson will head it down straight away here. We're also going to be missing William Reagan again. He will not be able to attend tonight's Cup Series race. We're of course going to be missing Payson Lindsay because of a suspension. Matt Grab will not be able to race tonight. And unfortunately the list kind of goes a little bit further than that, but we'll be back at Chicagoland next week and should have pretty much a full field of drivers ready to race that 1.5 miles. Bryce Benton heading down the front straightaway. Back into 1 and 2 he goes. He's way up the racetrack, almost to the wall. Side by side, we got Joseph Tucker and C.J. Erdman. Oh, they door slam down the back straightaway, and the 8 of Tucker's going to go around. And he will hit the wall hard. There is C.J. Erdman. Who apparently is Andrew Stacy. I don't know. Oh, John Butler now pulling onto the racetrack in his number 09. Oh, we got a car upside down. Braden Hunsicker on the back straightaway. Here comes Brandon Pfeiffer in the 98 off pit road. And he will now roll down this back straightaway up to speed. Alright, so 19 minutes to go still in the session as Cameron Chandler spins down the front straightaway. Here's another car rolling off the pit road, the 71 of Cole Clausen. Alright guys, so we're about 10 minutes into here to the warm-up session. What has been the feeling overall on the racetrack so far at Gateway?
Loose.
Loose. Especially off corner exit.
Alright, that's going to be a big thing you're going to have to watch out for tonight. Here from St. Louis, cars are going to be definitely sliding around all day long. So we will see how it plays out from Gateway. And it's back into 1 and 2, goes to 9 of Bryce Benton. He's going to have a good run tonight. Lost a lot of points in Darlington after having a DNF. He was on such a great stretch of races as well. So he goes back to 3 and 4. Here's Cole Clausen, Dylan Banks to the top of the board. Could be a pretty good contender for the win. We also got this track, for some reason it's old, but for some reason it is so detailed. We can look at not live traffic, but actual traffic on the back straightaway. We also got signs all around like actual street signs around the racetrack. There's literally cars moving back there. I mean, even at tracks like Darlington, like the track cuts off just outside the racetrack. And it's just like dead air. There's nothing there. Here at Gateway, for some reason, they put a lot of detail into this whole track. That's something I notice every time we hit the Gateways. We will be right back from St. Louis. It's about 20 more seconds and we'll be back live from Gateway. 150 laps coming up. We're about 17 minutes to go here in the warm-up session. Just about 13 minutes in. And cars are currently on the racetrack for this warm-up. Down the front straightaway goes the 77 of Braden Hunsicker into 1 and 2. Of course, looking for a victory tonight in his home race. He would definitely love to go to victory lane. A very, very special win if he does so. Oh! Big bobble off corner exit and wrecking down the back straightaway is Matthew White. Hard into the wall he goes. There's the 09 of John Butler. The should be the 52 of Joseph Tucker. There's John Butler in the 09. There's Cameron Chandler in the 8. There's Dylan Banks, Landon Johnson, Cole Clausen, Brandon Pfeiffer, Braden Hunsicker. Another one, there's should be, I guess, Andrew Stacy technically pulling off a pit road. as they will roll down the front straightaway here yet again. Gateway. For some reason our ticker isn't working either. It says no name for this racetrack.
It has so many names that it doesn't want to decide what name it wants to be.
Apparently. My God. Is right for the back straightaway. And here they go down the front stretch from St. Louis. Carlos Ortiz is now in the fields currently. All right. And here is Matthew White as they start to wreck ahead of him. So if this actually panned out to only be 13 drivers in the field, which it's not officially yet, there's probably going to be some more that join and bring that total up at least somewhat. But if there only is 13 cars in the field, it would be the lowest car count since Bristol in season number 2. That, of course, was many races ago. That was run back in February of 2024. I mean, at this point, just about a year and a half ago. Calendar year and a half ago. The last race that had, for the Cup Series points-paying races, this amount of cars. I should say, it's the least amount of cars. As Stacy will go up to the outside into the wall. Every single NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series and Xfinity Series race this season has had 20-plus cars. As Cameron Chandler will head down the front straightaway. I believe the last time we officially did, not counting the Season 3 championship, was Sonoma back in Season 3. Chandler back into 1 and 2. So let's look at your top 5. They're all separated by about a tenth of a second. You got White, Banks, Chandler, Hunsicker, Tucker, Benton now 6th. I think it's going to be a very solid battle between your top 6 or possibly 7 cars throughout the win for tonight. So don't look now, but that could be a very good battle all throughout here at Gateway. Battle for the win definitely is not going to be that calm, I would say. It's definitely also hard to pass here at Gateway, so you're going to need good track position. Oh, Stacy up the racetrack. He'll spin in the 94. Should actually be the 96, but apparently he got Payson and got banned from iRacing. Or maybe it's just actually CJ Urban in the 94 machine, just running a paint scheme that says he's Andrew Stacy. Crash. Something's going on. It's 77 Hunsicker around. And you can take a look at how all the detail. There's also Braden's kart track there in the middle. Definitely very interesting that they have all of this at Gateway of all places. Then they haven't even updated Gateway in God knows how many years. Here's Bryce Benson down the back straightaway in the 3 and 4. There's the 8. That is Joseph Tucker heading down the front stretch. And there is Erdman racing with the 98 of Piper. All right, it's about 10 minutes to go here in the warm-up session. comes Pfeiffer rolling down the front stretch. He's got the 88. That is Landon Johnson. There is the 21. That is Carlos Ortiz. Of course, he is full-time in the Xfinity Series this season. He had a great start to the year, as he will now spin off corner exit. But unfortunately for Carlos, as of late, has really just not been the season he has been really wanting in the Xfinity Series. But look at the standings right now. He currently sits below the playoff cut line now, -2, after being up there inside of the top 3, I believe, in the points. Alright. Sliding all over the places. I don't know why my packet's dropping. Alright, so hopefully we're back live again, having some connection issues. We should be back live here from St. Louis. Here's Matthew White up the track. There's him rolling down there. So I'll give you a notable driver list that we're going to be missing here tonight. Just go through it real quick, just so you know. Of course, Aiden Donahue won at Darlington last week. He's part-time, though, in the Cup Series this season, so I don't really think I'll mention him. We're going to be also missing Payson Lindsay from a suspension. We'll be missing Connor Havrilla as well. Trenton Wilkin will be missing. Matt Crabb, William Reagan, Richard Cherry, Christian Leonard, Logan Giesbrecht, probably Gary Smith as well. Maybe Eli Tomlin, Lucas Lewis, Mark Prince. I mean, lots and lots of drivers here tonight, unfortunately. Ethan McMillan, another one. But we still do have a lot of your top contenders. I mean, you have, I believe, double check on this. Luckily, 5 drivers that are inside of the top 5 in points. All 5 of them are here tonight.
Outside the top 5, it is going to be a big point stay for people like Clausen and Butler and all those guys. Yeah, Clausen, he needs points tonight. Enters here at Gateway -2. All right, Landon, you enter -20 if you didn't know that. I can't even make 2 weeks in a row because of work. As Dylan Banks wrecks down the back straightaway, he currently is 9th in the standings. He is +19 to the good. Hasn't really had the season to remember so far for your defending series champion. But looks for a bit of a comeback tonight. He is back top of the board and definitely looks like one of your maybe favorites to win if you can hold on to that. 7 minutes to go here in the warm-up. Oh, we got a car stopped in the middle of the racetrack. Carlos Ortiz. Tucker had a bobble. Off of quarter exit. Oh, big moment for Pfeiffer. He's hard on the wall here on the back straightaway. Absolutely slams it. Here is more cars. There's the 98 of Pfeiffer. And finally rolling on the racetrack is the 72 of Connor Asbell. We got to talk about Connor Asbell's season so far. So just buckle up for this one. After he won in Fontana, so 7 races completed this season in the Cup Series, of course. He has 1 win and 6 DNFs. I mean, that is just, I don't even know what to say about that. Obviously, he sits outside the playoff cut line, even with that win. But he is going to need an absolute turnaround of a century here. I mean, just luckily he has that win. That's the only thing he's actually holding on to. believe every other finish is just about outside the top 20. And most other finishes are non-point stays, unless he gets stage points. Five minutes to go in the warm-up as you got Joseph Tucker taking the road course for whatever reason.
Oh.
All right. Okay.
If we had a race on the road course, Hunsicker would win by like 5 seconds, or I mean, a million seconds.
Oh, I think Matthew White. Oh, you mean the kart track?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. He actually has experience here in real life. All right. About 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the warm-up session. There is Brandon Piper down the back straightaway. I mean, this track is so outdated that they got 5-hour energy on the racetrack, which obviously has thoughts of NASCAR in about 10 years. There is Miller and 77 Hunsicker as they race down the back straightaway. Cole, I haven't seen you take a bathroom break in a while.
Yeah, I think I got it all out on the first time that I did it, but I don't know, maybe we'll see it during the race.
Oh my god. All right.
I got to.
As Cole Clausen will roll down the front straightaway from St. Louis. I know it's a little bit early to mention this, but I figured I'd mention it just because I got everyone's attention. So, of course, NASCAR iRacing FedEx Lobbies will return tomorrow night for week number 31. We're also going to have to go through the schedule real quick as Cole Clausen gets destroyed by Braden Hunsicker. We start off with ARCA cars in Spain. It's actually going, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, how I pronounce this. It's the Circuit di Navarra, or Circuitino di Navarrana, or whatever it is, at the short track, the short circuit, I should say. So that should be pretty fun. Then we head to the Richmond Raceway with the Xfinity Series cars, and then we go with the brand new Gen 4 cars at Legacy Daytona. So that's your little schedule for tonight. Or I should say tomorrow night. Tucker gets loose once again. There is Dylan Banks. Oh, we got Andrew Stacy riding the wall. Okay.
Yeah, he copied me. But I got taken out by Hunsicker, so, I mean, I guess that's karma.
Brandon Pfeiffer just ran 3 seconds faster than the whole field, so I think we know
Yeah, I was gonna run 3 seconds faster too.
Oh, so that's a challenge.
Apparently, late here in practice session.
I get a bonus point if I wall ride
I don't know if it works like that.
and go 10 seconds faster.
Maybe if that happens, but I don't know if that's possible. CJ Irma just closed the gap down to 2.8. Or Andrew Stacy, I should say. This is really, really strange. As we prepare for race number 73 all-time in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. Is start number 73 the magic for Cole Clausen? For his first win, we'll have to see.
Not until I pull over to take a bathroom break on the final lap.
I mean, what's more important, the checkered flag or the bathroom?
Oh, definitely the bathroom any day of the week. I mean, if you gotta go, you gotta go. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's a reason drivers, in the car, but...
Oh, yeah.
Landon kind of gets stuck into the wall a bit. Minutes ago here in the warm-up. Okay, so of course 150 laps tonight. Halfway break going to be at the end of lap number 75. We've talked to some drivers tonight. They're already booking their plane tickets and packing for Chicagoland next week for whatever reason. But as Bryce Benson will hit the 88 of Landon Johnson, and no one driver that's not doing that, it's Braden Hunsicker. He's currently 8th on the board.
I won't mention who, but he drives the 8 car for Team Chevy Motor Club, and he's currently 6th on the board. Matthew White and Dylan Banks keep swapping back the real time that's fastest. About less than a tenth from each other every single time. That should be a good race between those two. Oh.
Yeah, suspend Matthew White for sitting in the middle of the track. Unacceptable.
Your 2 FedEx Cup Series champions get into each other there, and there is another one driving on by, Dylan Banks. And that will do it here in the warm-up session. Qualifying coming up next in Gateway. Lots of laps done here in this half-hour warm-up session. As always, we are ready to go qualifying from St. Louis. This is probably going to be the easiest race by far all season to actually be able to get track position in qualifying because of the field. And there not being, like, 25 cars. 25, 30 cars in this race. Okay, is iRacing going to just break itself? Sorry about that. There we go. As Matthew White pulls onto the racetrack, there's Cameron Chandler. Of course, got 2 laps to qualify, as always. Your fastest lap will be, of course, the lap that counts for pole position here in this 5-minute qualifying session. All cars on the racetrack by themselves. And here we go. Taking the green flag is Joseph Tucker in the 08, or 52, I should say, down the front straightaway. There is Cole Clausen through 1 and 2. There's the 79, and that is Ashton Miller. Down the back straightaway goes the driver of the 79. There's Matthew White through 3 and 4. Oh, Carlos Ortiz is in the wall. Here comes Andrew Stacy down the front straightaway. This could be a huge points day for him as he will slam the wall. Connor Asbell through 1 and 2. 16 Fs on the year, looks for a rebound tonight. Here's the 09 of John Butler off turn 4. Ashton Miller so far top of the board. Matthew White is second. We'll see if lap number 2 is better for these drivers as Butler will come to the line. Car on the racetrack. That's not on the racetrack just yet is Dylan Banks. Chandler is second. What a great lap by Miller on lap 1. What can these guys have for them in lap 2? Through 3 and 4 goes Miller. There is White. Here's Connor Asbell to the line on his opening lap. Here is Matthew White. Off turn number 4 he goes. Down the front straightaway. Asbell is P6. Matthew White to the line. To the checkered flag. He's top of the board. Miller improves but stays second. Across the line goes Cameron Chandler on the 8. He, I believe, will not improve his lap time. He'll be third. Hunsicker is now 4th. He's done for the home time driver. Joseph Tucker still yet to put down a time. Same thing with Carlos Ortiz. John Butler inside of the top 5. Here is Tucker through 3 and 4. Off turn number 4 he goes. Down the front straightaway from Gateway. We'll back it down. That is going to be his only lap time. It'll be P5 for currently. And here he comes. Dylan Banks onto the racetrack. Ortiz is 10th. Banks trying to go for pole position. Another driver yet to run is Bryce Benton. Connor Asbell there. There is Matthew White on pit road. Here is Bryce Benton on the racetrack as well. Can either of these two take down Matthew White? He's the all-time wins leader in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series, and he is also the all-time poles leader for your Season 1 Cup champion and current points leader. Here comes Dylan Banks down the front straightaway. Through 1 and 2, he's up the racetrack slightly, gets tight, and he heads down the back straightaway. Same thing, Bryce Benton heading through 3 and 4. Here in the 9. Down the front stretch goes the driver of the 9 to the line now for Bryce. He's second. Great lap for Benton. Banks now to the line. Where's he going to be? It is only 7th for lap number 1 for Dylan Banks. He's up the racetrack once again
through 1 and 2, trying to improve as he heads down the back straightaway. He was second in practice. Can Bryce Benton do anything? They have been improving on lap number 2. He's up the racetrack a bit. Through 3 and 4 he goes. Down the front straightaway, 50 seconds left to go. To the line for Bryce Benton. What's it gonna be? Across the line he goes. And he will stay P2. Here comes Dylan Banks. Can he improve? He's 4th. And that will do it. That'll mean Matthew White on pole position once again here in Gateway. White will win the pole. And an impressive qualifying for him yet again. As we click down to the end of qualifying here from the Gateway Motorsports Park, it is pole position for Matthew White. And for Matthew, it is his 4th pole position of season number 4 and his 2nd in a row. As we welcome you live to Gateway Motorsports Park for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series season number 4 race in St. Louis. I know it might look like a season number 1 race out here. This is the least amount of cars that we have had since Bristol in season number 2, and to breaks the streak of having 20-plus cars for the last 30 or so races. So unfortunate there, but we were going to have such a great battle for the win, I would have to say. Top 7 drivers I would all expect to be up there battling for the win. 8th on back, I'm not so sure. Sorry, Cole and Landon, but...
Oh, wow, thanks.
But
Let's go get 1-2 now.
Yes, sir.
The top 7 have really showed the most amount of pace.
All we gotta do is wall ride for 150 laps.
Oh, yeah.
As they will come down pit road to check their boxes for the first time around. And we welcome you live to Gateway in St. Louis. The St. Louis Arch right above, right off in the distance as well here in Gateway. As they roll single file, Matthew White starting from pole position. Look to the outside, they'll have Bryce Benton starting 2nd, Miller on row number 2 with Dylan Banks, who could be a favorite for the win here tonight. Row 3 will consist of Cameron Chandler and Braden Hunsicker, Joseph Tucker, John Butler, and Brandon Pfeiffer, and then Andrew Stacy starting in 10th. And then you get the rest of the smallest grid I've ever seen running throughout the rest of it. As they will come to check pit road speed and check their pit boxes this time by. Small grid, but we are going to have such a battle for the win all day long, I would have to imagine, here in Gateway. Lots of fast cars, lots of ways to get the job done tonight. It's hard to pass. You're going to need track position early. Matthew White's, of course, starting on pole position, so he should be able to get a good launch as they will come to check their pit boxes.
So just a little update on the fuel. We will have to pit before halfway.
Yeah, fuel capacity at 80% here from Gateway to make that possible. A bunch of new rules in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series this season. The 3 major ones, I guess, that don't really involve racing are, of course, this new thing that we're doing down pit road to check their pit boxes before the race actually begins. Then we have, of course, the choose cone. That's the biggest one. Then, of course, the full fuel capacity situation. And we are also limiting tire sets this season as well. You get 3 sets on pit road for tonight. They will roll double file down to the back straightaway, ready to come to green this time by. This is St. Louis. It's race number 8 of the Cup Series calendar. Because of the very low car count, drivers like Connor Rasbell, Andrew Stacy looking for a great points day. Same thing with Landon Johnson and possibly even Cole Clausen, who enters tonight below the playoff cut line for your Season 2 champion. Matthew White, Bryce Benton on the front row, ready to come to the green flag. These two have been so good all season long. We'll see who's going to come out on top tonight. Pace car comes down pit road. And the first ever Cup Series race from St. Louis Gateway Motorsports Park is green and underway. Benton around the outside in white. They're side by side. Benton slides up to the racetrack. He's loose already. He's almost door slamming cars in the back straightaway. Everyone has to make it, avoiding action as Bryce Benton falls on back, all the way back to P8, P9. Banks gonna get second place, but he's up the racetrack. He's got Miller to his inside. Here comes Hunsicker, nearly 3 wide around the bottom of the racetrack. What a chaotic opening lap, as Matthew White will lead lap number 1. Banks to the outside now, and Miller. Through 1 and 2 they go on lap number 2. White is up the racetrack. Miller's already to his inside. Banks is heading down the back straightaway. He's got to run. Stacy slides as well. Through 3 and 4, Dylan Banks looking to get clear on Ashton Miller. He is now clear, the driver of the 79. He will set his eyes on Matthew White. The driver of the 7 comes to complete lap number 2 to take lap number 3. Banks, of course, was one of the fastest drivers in practice just behind White. They kept trading spots top of the board. He is there on his quarter panel, trying to look down to the inside as they snake their way once again down the back straightaway. Ooh, Carlos Ortiz gets loose down the back stretch. He's slightly through the grass. Banks has a bobble connection issue just for a quick second. Battle for third starting to heat up as well between hometown hero Braden Hunsicker and Ashton Miller. Car got loose back there. That is the 8 of Joseph Tucker. The 08, I should say the 52 of Joseph Tucker. He's got Connor Aswell coming to his bumper as well. Banks to the bumper once again on your leader, Matthew White. Continues to put pressure on him as they roll down this back straightaway. To the inside now for P4 is Cameron Chandler on Braden Hunsicker. He will fall back in line. Banks once again still trying to put pressure on the bumper of the 7 car. Connor Aswell just got around Bryce Benton for 6th. He's already driven that thing inside of the top 10. He also got a battle maybe for 7th place going on with Bryce Benton and Joseph Tucker. And here we go for the lead. Dylan Banks to the inside of Matthew White. 4P1 in Gateway. Door to door for the top spot. Banks gonna slide Matthew White, who won the truck race at Live Rock last night, up the racetrack as they go side by side for the lead in Gateway. Bite nearly in the wall. Door to door, coming to lap 6. Still side by side as they head back into 1 and 2. Banks has that inside lane. He will slide up the racetrack nearly to the door of Matthew White. He'll power around him, but White still has momentum around the outside lane. But now he's clear. New leader in Gateway. It is Dylan Banks. On lap number 6. He will take the race lead in St. Louis. Battle for 4th place still going on between Braden Hunsicker and Cameron Chandler. Only driver inside of the top 6 that does not have a NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series win, to their credit, is Ashton Miller, currently running in 3rd. Oh, car going around.
Straight off 2.
It's Joseph Tucker, teammate to Dylan Banks, through the grass. He will be able to hang on to it. Also got Pfeiffer nearly in the wall. Maybe a battle for... Oh, is Hunsicker nearly in the wall? That'll allow Chandler to his inside. Battle for 4th, side by side in Gateway. Chandler in that Chevrolet to the inside of the 77 of Braden Hunsicker. It's Highline Motorsports versus Team Chevy Motor Club. Once again, though, Hunsicker around the outside will clear the 8 of Chandler. Of course, fuel window, like Landon Johnson mentioned before the race went under green, is about maybe lap 52 to lap 55. So if we don't get a caution flag here in the first half, we will have to come down pit road. Chandler trying to find a higher lane to get around the 77. He's still falling in line as they head down the back straightaway. We've had 1 pass for the lead so far in St. Louis as Dylan Banks takes the lead for pole sitter Matthew White. Car slow in the racetrack. That's the 98 of Pfeiffer coming down pit road. He has damage.
Yeah, I think he got in that first lap scuffle there with Bryce Benton.
Luckily, I don't really know how they all saved it. Benton was completely, like,
sideways down the through 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. As Banks continues to lead, Matthew White's still there. He's got pressure from Ashton Miller down this back straightaway, who's right along with the 79. He is not going away on the 7 of Matthew White. Right along with White, coming to lap 11 in St. Louis. So you'll have a bit of a connection issue just for a quick second. Riding along now with Dylan Banks. Obviously, like we mentioned, it's going to be hard to pass here from Gateway all around tonight. And Banks beginning to get Matthew White by about 0.5 of a second as they head back into 3 and 4. Still early race in Gateway. Dylan Banks, your current leader from St. Louis. I believe Pfeiffer still on pit road trying to repair some of that damage. He will now go 3 laps down. Still, this battle for 4th is heating up. Cameron Chandler still all over the back bumper of Braden Hunsicker. Tries to find some clean air around him. Hunsicker has a bobble off corner exit. Also got Bryce Benson and Connor Aswell now battling for 6th place. John Butler there currently running in 8th. Andrew Stacy having a solid run inside of 9th and just running inside of the top 10, looking for his 2nd top 10 finish of the season is Cole Clausen. His only other top 10 this year for the driver that's currently sitting outside of the playoff cut line was at the Daytona 500. White has not really allowed Dylan Banks to get away just yet. Closed the gap back up to about 3.5 of a second on the 48. So, of the top 5 cars, 4 of them, or I should say, there are 4 different organizations represented. As here's Cameron Chandler to the inside of 77 Hunsicker once again. Hunsicker there trying to use that outside lane to get good momentum off quarter exit. He will once again clear Banks, or Chandler, I should say. So, of course, Ethan Trendler Racing currently with the lead. Highline Motorsports running in 2nd. Showtime Motorsports running 3rd with Ashton Miller. There's another Highline car for Hunsicker, and then 5th place is Team Chevy Motor Club's Cameron Chandler. Top 5 have kind of separated themselves from the rest of them in the fields. Look back on 6th place, it is Bryce Benson, kind of looking similar overall to maybe the top 4 or 5 cars separating themselves over the rest of the fields. And Bryce Benson is leading the train once again, just like last night. Driver that started on the front row, but had a big bobble on lap number 1. Andrew Stacy got in the wall slightly. Cole Clausen starting to catch up to his bumper, battling for 9th place. And here is Clausen in the 71 trying to get to his inside. Will have to stay in line as they head down the front straightaway yet again. Chandler, though, once again, continuously has been running the bottom through 1 and 2. Hunsicker has been using that outside lane to his advantage. We'll watch and see what they do down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. Once again, Hunsicker has a bit of a higher entry. They will both kind of run to the bottom of the racetrack through 3 and 4. Of course, St. Louis, very similar to Darlington, just really without banking. Through 1 and 2, it's kind of a more wide open corner. Down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. That is where it gets more tight, like Darlington 3 and 4. Ashton Miller heads down the back straightaway. There is Matthew White. Let's actually ride along with the 7 and see what the whole shifting situation looks like. So they go down the 4th gear through 3 and 4. Matthew, of course, is going to blink. And let's listen down the front stretch. A bit of a bobble for the 7. So obviously an upshift down the front straightaway. He'll downshift the 4th gear. You don't downshift the 3rd gear through 3 and 4. Obviously you won't do that through 1 and 2. Watch once again down this back straightaway. You can keep the revs just high enough to stay in 3rd gear
through 3 and 4. Battle for position here is Cole Clausen to the inside of Andrew Stacy for 9th. Door to door down this front straightaway. See what Stacy can do in that outside lane. He will wash up the racetrack. Clausen's going to be to his inside. He's looking to get there. He's looking to get clear of him as well. Still not clear as they roll down the backstretch. And he'll have to fall back in line. Big momentum for Andrew Stacy off corner exit. And he'll stay in front of Cole Clausen for now. Big send though in the 3 and 4 for the 71. Another thing these drivers are going to have to watch out for tonight is ever-changing tire conditions. Obviously, a very hot day here tonight in St. Louis, especially for late April. 80-degree day tonight in Gateway. These tires are going to be wearing out quickly. It's loose to begin with as well. And on these long runs, you should expect some even more looseness out of these race cars. Big send to the inside. John Butler looking to battle for 7th place with Connor Asbell. Back up here, it looks like Hunsicker has begun to gap himself on the 8 of Cameron Chandler is now. He is beginning to run down Ashton Miller. Miller has been falling into the clutches of Hunsicker as of late, as he continues to drop back from Matthew White, and of course your race leader Dylan Banks. Stacy's still kind of sitting in line. He's going to actually run the outside through 3 and 4. We'll see what kind of momentum he can get around the top. Looks pretty decent running down the front straightaway, but Cole Clausen still in his tire checks.
The dirty air is just insane. It's pretty hard to pass him.
I mean, especially with this next-gen car. If they didn't really have a good... I mean, is it because they're getting good run off the corner, or is it just that the dirty air is that bad?
Well, his run off the corner is definitely helping him. I mean, if I could get to his outside, I think I could pass him because I'd have a run off the corner and he'd have to stay low. But yeah, just when I get to my inside, I can't drift up the track because obviously he's there and the dirty air is just, it's too much. And he gets that run off the corner, so it's pretty tough.
Yeah, as we now right along with Cole Clausen through 1 and 2 he goes. Told me about this pre-race, but Cole Clausen actually has some stickers here for the onboard as we look along down the back straightaway. A bit of bobble there for Andrew Stacy. As they come to lap 24 in Gateway. You see Clausen closes in the corner, just cannot get there. That dirty air bubble and the run Andrew has off the corner really helping him as Clausen has a bit of a bobble down the backstretch. Big send through 3 and 4 for Clausen. Still not able to get there as we look back up front. Oh, Ashton Miller way up the racetrack through 1 and 2. Don't know if that was a mistake or not. Probably was, as Braden Hunsicker is going to have good momentum coming down the back straightaway. Looking up front, it's up to now about 6, maybe even 7 tenths of a second between Dylan Banks and Matthew White up front. Come to lap number 26 in Gateway. And all green so far. Ooh, a bit of a slide there off corner exit for Ashton Miller. As they head down the back straightaway, there is Braden Hunsicker in his tire tracks. Well, Hunsicker actually lost a bit of time off these last couple of laps, but after that mistake Ashton made, maybe got some debris on his tires. Maybe got out of focus slightly. He is now beginning to fall back to Braden Hunsicker. There's Chandler racing them behind. Pfeiffer, I don't know if he's back on the racetrack or not. We can get to an update. I don't think he is, actually. He's 18 laps down. Here is Bryce Benson currently running in 6th. Obviously, he's back here because of that early race slide that he had, and now really just trying to do everything he can to recover. Up front, it's been kind of even over the last few laps between Matthew White and Dylan Banks. About 6 to 7 tenths of a second. Banks goes up the racetrack slightly, but that's going to be mostly to get a good run off corner exit. Another thing you're going to have to keep an eye on tonight is tire saving. We'll see how well who's able to do it and who comes and goes throughout these runs. We're 28 laps now into the run, kind of coming into more of a, I would say, longer run, what you're going to see for a longer run tonight. So far, it looks like Dylan Banks has the slight upper hand on Matthew White. He has led the most laps so far tonight in Gateway. The driver that started in 4th. Of course, it was such a chaotic initial start to this race with Bryce Benson completely sideways. Somehow everyone is able to make it cleanly through all of that mess. And we are, of course, still green. Still going here in St. Louis. Lap 30 underway in Gateway. Of course, the halfway break is at the end of lap number 75. So we've still got like 46 to go to the halfway break. Early days from St. Louis. Battle for 3rd place beginning to heat up between Ashton Miller and Braden Hunsicker. Chandler still kind of falling in line behind him. Oh, bit of a bobble there for Ashton Miller off corner exit. He'll have Hunsicker getting momentum down the back straightaway. Through 1 and 2 they go yet again. Hunsicker is running a little bit lower than Ashton Miller. The 79 and Miller trying to get good momentum off corner exit. He slides though a bit as they roll their way down the back straightaway. Miller going to kind of take the bottom lane away from Hunsicker through 3 and 4. Hunsicker still stuck in the dirty air from the 79. Oh, Miller on the wall once again slightly. Hunsicker all over his back bumper. He's looking to the inside as they make contact. Once again through 3 and 4, Miller way up the racetrack. Braden coming to his inside. You remember the great battle they had last night in Lime Rock Park for 3rd place, and now they're battling here in the Cup Series. For 3rd, to the inside goes Hunsicker. On Ashton Miller, he's gonna have to try to push him up the racetrack through 1 and 2. Oh, he's gonna door slam him. I wouldn't say that much, but he door slams him through 1 and 2. He slides off corner exit, Miller in the wall slightly, and he will now clear him. New driver to 3rd place, it is Braden Hunsicker. And now Ashton Miller, it looks like he has damage. He's got Cameron Chandler to his inside. That was a pretty good wall pop for the 79. How will that affect him as Chandler tries to go back to his inside? Maybe we'll have to fall back in the line as Miller hits the wall. Chandler trying to get there, battle for 4th. Miller almost now losing 2 positions from all of this. Long run pace on the 79 starting to go away. Chandler there once again will have to fall back in line. One thing you don't want to do here early in St. Louis is definitely damage your race car like Ashton Miller just did. The initial wall pop, it looked like that car bends in a bit. We got cars on pit road. Lenny Johnson and Cole Clausen currently now a lap down for Cole Clausen. So, guys, what's the situation here looking like on pit road?
You know, I just pitted because my spotter told me that my right front was getting killed. So, after being stuck in that dirty air, so I decided to go get some fresh Goodyear tires, and now we're ripping around here again.
Yeah, I figured as the run continues to go on, 35 laps now into it, we should see your leaders maybe pit, I would say relatively soon, maybe in the next 10, 15 or so laps.
shouldn't be too long before we see them coming down pit road, but definitely early stops out of Paul Clausen and Landon Johnson, who's of tire wear. Chandler's got momentum down this back straightaway. As Connor Aswell began to fall back there, he has, I think, an issue. Landon Johnson currently on pit road now, falls back down 2 laps as Connor Aswell is pitting. 72 is on pit road getting 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Johnson now rolls off pit road.
Yeah, I got a penalty.
That's definitely going to be costly for Landon Johnson. I'm assuming he was speeding.
I didn't read it. I saw a black flag. I can't read.
Oh, here we go to the inside. Cameron Chandler and Ashton Miller battle for 4th. Chandler, though, will he run him up the racetrack? The inside has been a little bit more dominant through 3 and 4. Chandler's going to try to use that bottom lane. He will not be clear, though, of Miller. Miller back around the outside through 3 and 4 and down the back straightaway, but he's going to actually just let Cameron go from the looks of it. And Chandler to 4th place. So he's up the racetrack, though, right in front of the bumper of Ashton Miller. Miller trying to make a crossover move happen, but it will not be able to go into fruition. Another thing that's very interesting here at Gateway is you got to be kind of a decent road course racer to succeed at Gateway. Because of the turns, they've got the road course rumble, or whatever they're called, stripes here. And then, of course, it's very, very similar to braking at road courses through the corners. For the lead, it's about 9/10 of a second now separating your leader Dylan Banks and 2nd place pole sitter Matthew White as they come to lap 40 in St. Louis. Should see your leaders on pit road and sometime soon. And should be their only pit stop until the halfway break, at least for your leaders. I mean, tonight's going to be a pretty hard day to manage tires, especially if you're wearing them out quickly. Ashton Miller's falling back. I believe he has an issue. Or he may be just pitting. Yes, he is.
Pitted. Yeah, I think he pitted.
Miller surrenders to come down pit road, and Chandler's pitting on the back straightaway, front straightaway as well. Here comes the 8 cycling down pit road. Leaders beginning to make their pit stops, I would assume a little bit earlier than I would have thought. But maybe tires just that big of a deal here in Gateway. Comes Chandler down pit road. No mistakes on pit road is crucial here in St. Louis. Dylan Banks starting to actually losing a bit of time that time to Matthew White, but it kind of looks like he's begun to get a little bit more stable. We'll see when Banks and maybe Matthew White come down pit road. Will the undercut be a good strategy for tonight? You're going to have to run hard on your outlaps. Or will the overcut prevail? I would assume it would be the undercut, but we'll have to wait and see. Another car pitting, that's John Butler in the 09. He comes down pit road. Chandler is now rolling off the pits. Got a battle here as Chandler makes his way to the inside there on the 88 of Landon Johnson. This is actually a battle for position. Undercut is the situation that's working so far. Ashton Miller pitted a little bit earlier than Cameron Chandler, and he is coming out front as now your leader, or 2nd place car, I should say, Matthew White is on pit road. This should force the hand of Dylan Banks. That's what I thought would work, the undercut, and it so far looks like it is. Matthew White is pitting. See if Banks comes down. Yes, he is. All right. Oh, he's through the grass. Your leader through the grass slightly for Dylan Banks. Got to make sure that didn't lose him so much time. And he will come to pit road. Matthew White getting 4 fresh Goodyear tires, packing that thing full of Sunoco fuel as he'll roll off. It may be a pretty good battle for what will be the lead. White will roll off pit road. Where is Miller and Chandler? They're not able to get there on White. Here's Dylan Banks now just coming to his pit stall. Gonna have to have a really quick pit stop if he wants to get in front of Matthew White after that mistake. And of course getting
maybe overtaken by the undercut as Joseph Tucker makes his way to the outside here on CJ Erdman. These two have yet to pit. John Butler is on fresh tires behind him. We'll see how this all works out as we watch back here. Here he comes, Dylan Banks rolling off pit road. Matthew White around the outside, and yeah, just like we thought, undercut, and after the mistake on pit road for Dylan Banks, that will cost him the lead. Erdman's pitting, or I should say Stacy's pitting. John Butler will stay out. Landon Johnson back on pit road.
Yeah, I'm 3 laps down. I ain't getting that back. I'll just join you in the booth and eat free food.
I mean, they didn't really feed us too well tonight at Gateway for whatever reason. So this is your whole situation. Change is happening as we still have Hunsicker get to pit. He's starting to run a little bit longer. Here comes Benson down pit road as Hunsicker now surrenders to pit. There is Benton behind him as well. So here is what happens on pit road. Undercut, the big strategy to be on so far tonight. Matthew White undercuts, we made a mistake on pit road for Dylan, but undercuts Dylan Banks is going to have and takes the lead, and even a big gap with all of that. So, same thing happens with Ashton Miller and Cameron Chandler. Chandler just passed Ashton Miller, and now he's back behind him. So, undercut really what you want to be on tonight. Got to force everybody's hand early and run hard on your outlaps. As your leader, Matthew White, is in some traffic, he will get around Andrew Stacy. Put him a lap down. Stacy, I think, pitted. So he will naturally go a lap down as Matthew makes his way around the 21 of Carlos Ortiz. Joseph Tucker still running long as he's your current leader, yet to pit. The only driver yet to pit, I believe. Matthew White looking to get around him for the lead. Oh, is now Stacy sits right in front of the 48 of Dylan Banks. Banks really getting caught up with this lap traffic. He'll make his way to the inside. He's going to go 3 wide down the back straightaway. They're trying to put now Andrew Stacy a lap down, but Stacy's racing him through 3 and 4. Banks not going to be so happy about this one. He's finally clear off him on corner exit, but the battle for we got a battle for third going on now. Here is Cameron Chandler to the inside of Ashton Miller, and as he ran long, Braden Hunsicker loses about 2 or 3 spots on pit road as Chandler is almost clear of Miller. He is now clear off corner exit. Miller going to have to try to get a run down this back straightaway. We'll see where the momentum is going to carry with him. Through 3 and 4 they go. Tucker and Ortiz now, I believe, have pitted. They'll be back on the racetrack, both now 1 lap down. Ortiz still actually, there he is off pit road. Back up front, Matthew White, after taking the lead off of pit road, has a 1.3 second lead over Dylan Banks. Banks was overall the fastest car throughout all of the runs. He is slowly but surely running a bit quicker lap times than Matthew. Coming a lap 50 this time by. It's 26 to go to the halfway break. Can he run him down? Ooh, Banks on the wall slightly as I go to praise him as they head down the backstretch. Dirty air going to be absolutely key, though, as Banks begins to try to reel him in. .2 seconds the gap as they come across the stripe. A little bit quicker that time once again for Dylan Banks. He's beginning to run him down, but how much? He doesn't have a whole lot of time. 25 laps to go to the halfway break. We're looking for his second stage win of the year. And looking for his first race win of the season for your defending Cup Series champion. Top 3 are all NASCAR iRacing FedEx League champions. Of course, Season 1 Cup champ for Matthew White, Season 3 Cup champ Dylan Banks, and then the Season 3 Xfinity Series champ Cameron Chandler, currently running in 3rd. Banks has broken down to about 1 second
on Matthew White. Banks has led the most laps so far tonight. Qualified 4th. Matthew, of course, qualified on pole position. But as the run has gone on throughout the night, looks like Dylan Banks has the upper hand on Matthew White. But can he get there and, of course, pass him? Getting there is one thing, and passing him is another. As we see Dylan start to break into the dirty air of the 7, it's going to be harder and harder to get there. We'll have to maybe see him start to search around. So Matthew White is running the very high line through 1 and 2. Banks is running a little bit lower as they head down the back. Oh, bit of a bobble there for Dylan Banks off corner exit. Turn number 2 off that exit is definitely where the cars get the most light, where you got to be the most careful on the gas. Through 3 and 4, Banks runs slightly lower than Matthew White, but both these two running very, very similar lines. Tease Tucker now on pit road again. I don't know where they went. Oh, and they're gone. Okay. 4 cars out of the race so far. Tucker, Ortiz, Johnson, Pfeiffer. And because of the already small car count, this leaves only 10 cars left running, which is absolutely insane, not even halfway.
Huge points day for some guys, especially me.
Yeah, Cole Clausen currently running 8th. What I believe be his best cup finish of the season. Not mistaken. Maybe Daytona was lit. Were you 7th at Daytona?
I finished 10th at Daytona, so it's either going to be better or a tie.
All right. To go to the halfway break this time by in St. Louis. He was able to run him down a bit, back to maybe about, we ran him down to about maybe like 1 second, but he's really kept it just like in that margin as of late with White and Dylan Banks. They've been running pretty much identical lap times around St. Louis. We've been caution-free so far tonight. We do have, of course, a guaranteed caution coming up at the halfway break. That was a bit of a gain now. About 0.8 of a second. Lost a little bit of off corner exit, though. I think Matthew ran pretty high to get that good run off the corner. Looking back here, these two have gapped themselves over about 7 seconds from Cameron Chandler, Ashton Miller, and Brandon Hunsicker. Hunsicker beginning to reel in the driver of the 79, but did lose 2 positions after running long. Something I really don't think is going to work out tonight, unless, of course, you get a caution.
And I don't think we're going to get one until at least stage 3. Especially if everybody's spread out.
This is very interesting. So if this race kind of runs naturally with just the halfway break caution, of course, you already are on your first set of tires on pit road. You're going to take your second set during the halfway break. Then that third and final set will put on under a green flag run. So that really relieves no margin for a late race caution to put on fresh tires. Drivers really, really having to manage that more than ever. White and Banks have been the drivers that have been out front the most tonight. Banks still
got a good battle for 4th right now.
Here is Braden Hunsicker to the inside of Ashton Miller. Miller trying to keep it tough on the outside lane, but long run pace out of that 79 just really hasn't been there all day long. Still side by side though, down the front straightaway.
Seems like there's It seems like there's every time there's a FedEx race, these two are battling each other.
Whoa! As just aligning around him now is the 77 of Hunsicker. These two, the last 2 days at Lime Rock Park and now tonight, all over each other. They can't get enough of each other, apparently.
As they're slowly gaining on Cameron Chandler.
Chandler running currently in 3rd. Gap up front back to about a second over Matthew White over Dylan Banks. So, oh, we got a car on the wall. Andrew Stacy. Ahead of Cameron Chandler. He's going to almost pull it down to the inside. That will compromise the line of the 8. Big slide off corner exit for Braden Hunsicker. Chandler will get around, or I should say Stacy, pretty safely. Stacy currently 1 lap down. He is in the 3 pass position though. Through 3 and 4 is now. Here is Hunsicker to the inside of the lap car. Of course, now trying to pull away from 79 of Ashton Miller. He's starting, of course, reel in Cameron Chandler. Ooh, Stacy kind of setting it in pretty deep, even than they would have thought. Chandler nearly in the wall slightly. And Hunsicker beginning to run him down. Back up front, still about a second. It's been like that for the last 20 or so laps. Andrew Stacy is a big fan of Cole Clausen right now. As we come back to 11 to go to the halfway break, he does not want Clausen to go 1 lap down because Andrew will be taken out of the free pass position.
Well, unfortunately, it's going to happen because I misjudged my braking zone once going into 1 and hit the wall. So I'm losing a bit of ground here.
Yeah, Matthew White catching up to the driver of the 71. You also got John Butler ahead of him as well. Not really too far down the road either, as now he's going to let the leader go. Come back to 10 to go to the halfway break this time by. There is John Butler ahead of these guys. There is Connor Asbell, currently running in 7th. Bryce Benton, 24 seconds back of the leader, is currently running in 6th. Of course, like we mentioned earlier, we've been under green so far all tonight. 0 caution flags in St. Louis so far. Thanks. Now gets around the lap car called Clausen. That cost him about maybe 3 or so tenths. With 9 to go. We'll see if Matthew White's able to run down and pass John Butler.
I hope not.
Yeah. It's about maybe, from the looks of it, maybe 4 or 5 seconds back on him. Now 8 to go to the halfway break.
Yeah, unless he just has a big mistake, I don't think he's going to catch him. So Cole will probably get the waiver room.
Dylan Banks still back to about 1.4 seconds. Got to be thinking what it could have been for a stage victory and a playoff point if he didn't have that big mistake on pit road and then, of course, running a lap longer than Matthew White. Because he was controlling the race from that point on. Maybe going to learn something for the second stop if we have another green flag pit stop in the second half.
Yeah, but I mean, you pit too early the second half. You have a late race caution. You're on older tires than other guys.
Yeah, because of course, like we mentioned earlier, if it goes naturally green with no other caution flags, they'll just have just enough set of tires. With 3 sets, still 2 sets, I should say, still laying in the pits. You're going to take one into the halfway break, then you'll take one in your final green flag pit stop.
But Miller in the grass down the back straightaway.
Ashton Miller will be back on the racetrack, but he's going to lose a whole lot of time.
And he is definitely banking on this caution flag coming very soon. Top 10 so far: Matthew White, Dylan Banks, Cameron Chandler, Braden Hunsicker, Ashton Miller, Bryce Benson, Connor Aswell, John Butler, and Cole Clausen. And Andrew Stacy. Matthew White really starting to blink here. Kind of getting annoying. 5 to go to the halfway break in St. Louis. Dylan Banks currently running in second place. Of course, he's had a good day all night long. Still going to be a pretty good point situation if he finishes second here in the stage. John Butler is still down the road on White, but really hasn't been giving up as much time as Matthew White would need to lap him. Cole Clausen, now a really big fan of John Butler.
Let's go, Jonathan Butler.
Needs him to stay on the lead lap. Take a look where Cole is. There he is. Andrew Stacy is pretty much far back. I don't think he's going to be able to even run him down if he wanted to for that free pass battle. Matthew White really blinking. I don't know why, as he's beginning to even further stretch the gap on Dylan Banks. This is really getting annoying. As they come back to 3 to go to the halfway break in Gateway. Of course, old tires in St. Louis is definitely not a very kind combo to a lot of these drivers. We've seen it especially from Ashton Miller. Currently now back to 5th place. He has damage on the 79. As White will come to 2 to go. Definitely kind of a long. Somebody just blew up. I heard something. I don't. Oh, it was landed.
Boom!
Pit road is closed. This time by 2 to go to the halfway break. There's Connor Aswell currently running in 7th. I mean, any points is good points for Connor Aswell this season with his 6 DNFs on the year. This is longer than Connor has usually made it throughout these races. He's usually DNFing in the first half. Yeah, I'm not trying to. Ooh, big bobble off corner exit for Dylan Banks. As he comes to the final lap in the stage, Banks starting to fall away on the longer run. Matthew White started on pole position, had a great strategy down pit road to retake the lead from Dylan Banks under the green flag pit stop as he heads down the back straightaway for the final time in this stage. Hopefully his connection issues actually sort themselves out. Long, grueling first stage in Gateway, but we come to the green and white checkered flag as Matthew White comes blinking to it. He will, win the stage from Gateway. Second place, 9 points, is going to be Dylan Banks. Third across the line, we're going to have to wait, I think, for the top 8 to cross, because that's the lead lap cars. It's going to be Cameron Chandler. Actually, the caution will come out. 2 spread out is the call. We are under the halfway break in a Gateway. Halfway through things in St. Louis on lap 76. All right. Pretty, I would say, interesting first half here in St. Louis. They will come to the iRacing pace car. So it's going to be a crucial pit stop. Track position is very, very important, but restarts is definitely a good place to make up track position as well. We saw on the initial start. Here they come down pit road, led by Matthew White. Oh, Braden Hunsicker just got into the back of Cameron Chandler, or almost did. My goodness, what a big... That was, I don't even know what he was doing at that point. Nearly slammed into the back of Chandler. Luckily, them both will be able to get minimal, if any, damage from all of that. Wow. Cole Clausen will get the free pass. All right, here they come down a pit road in St. Louis. I mean, Hunsaker was trying to catch back up there, but I don't really think he pushed it that hard. He already had enough time when they're getting to the pit road line. All right, pit stops. Halfway break in Gateway. 4 fresh Goodyear tires for everybody. Going to put their second set of 3 on. Could be a good battle off pit road. Banks and White. Kind of an even stop between the two of them off pit road first. It's going to be a good one. It'll be Matthew White. Banks is going to hold second. Third's going to be Chandler. Fourth will be Braden Hunsaker. So pretty even stops on the 4 of them. Who's going to have 5th place? It'll be actually Connor Asbell off pit road. P5. He gained some track position. 6th is going to be John Butler. And I think Benton Miller, they're trying to repair some damage. We are under halfway here in St. Louis. We'll be right back in the broadcast booth. We're not going to come to the choose this time. Bye. We do still have some cars catching back up. So I don't think they're not choosing this time. All right, so it's 2 to go to the halfway break, to the choose gun this, 2 to go till the restart here in St. Louis. As we welcome you back live to St. Louis, Missouri, under the halfway break currently. Miller is being scored 1 lap down. He's still on pit road here. I don't know why. Bryce Benson's going to roll off pits. Ashton Miller's going to have to roll off pretty soon as they will come to the choose this time. Erdman is still in the way. He's going to have to pass the pace car. I don't know why he's still there. There he goes, finally. So choosing the outside lane is going to be Matthew White. Kind of interesting there. Banks will choose the inside. Chandler's going to line up on the outside for 3rd. Hunsaker will be 4th. So kind of seems like the outside lane is going to be maybe preferred on these restarts. And Ashton Miller going to roll off pit road. He is currently 1 lap down. Andrew Stacy, to get back on the lead lap, he will not pick, which is, I don't know if that's the greatest idea. I would most likely just bet on a caution flag because these tires for Andrew Stacy are going to be screaming. And I don't know if how he's going to be able to make it to the fuel window either for these leaders. All right.
So he'll have to pit it. He'll have to pit about 10 or 15 laps from now.
Yeah, and those he's going to be down on. He won't be down. He's actually going to be up a set of tires, I think. I don't really know what he's hoping for with this strategy. I think that strategy was just to get back on the lead lap. All right, here we go. Going to be back underway on lap 81 for the second half in St. Louis. White on the outside lane for the lead. Banks on the inside, ready to come back to the green flag. These have been the 2 dominant drivers of the day. Back to the Geico restart zone they go. Back underway.
Huge jump for the 7 car.
Yeah, he is clear of both Dylan Banks and Cameron Chandler. Back into 1 and 2 they go. Banks on the inside of the 8. He's going to clear him off. Oh! Chandler goes around! Into the wall he goes! If he can fire it back up, we will stay green. We'll stay green here in St. Louis. Through 3 and 4, big send by Dylan Banks. As they head down the front straightaway yet again. But Cameron Chandler goes around, of course, was out of the way of everybody, so no reason for a caution flag. So we stay green flag running. Through 1 and 2 they go yet again in Gateway. And down the back straightaway, Dylan Banks in the wall slightly as Matthew White tries to break the draft. Hunsaker now running in 3rd, sorry about that.
Side by side, how about Connor Asbell around Bryce Benton, battling for P4? Ooh, making contact almost off corner exit. Light up the racetrack through 1 and 2 they go yet again. Last time by, Dylan Banks was able to run him down in the short run and was able to get around Matthew White. We'll see what happens this time. Here we go. Benton back to the inside of Connor Asbell. Unsicker now running in third. Cameron, of course, probably not very happy that wasn't a caution flag, but of course did not warrant it. White maybe beginning to pull away from Dylan Banks. Oh, trouble! Down the front straightaway, into the wall hard is Connor Asbell. And he's kind of back in the middle of the track. Caution's going to come out now. He's sitting there.
Are we serious right now?
And now he gets it back rolling. And he has damage. Let's take a look what happens to the first incident caution of the night here in Gateway. Down on the bottom. Oh yeah, loses it all by himself. He's having such a good run, and yeah, into the wall he goes. Down the front straightaway. I don't know if it's going to be race-ending damage for Connor Asbell, but definitely not going to be a great situation for him. Loses it all by himself ahead of Bryce Benton. Sat in the track for a couple seconds too long. We would have said green if he didn't do that, but.
Is the leaders are already? Oh, they're faked out. Say they're already going back down pit road.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. They'd be taking their final set. We do have cars pitting though. Cameron Chandler is on pit road. Cole Clausen as well. I don't agree with this. Maybe Chandler to fix some damage, but I don't agree with. I agree with Stacy, Asbell also to fix damage, but I don't know.
Can I get a black flag for passing cars when I was coming to pit road? Even though, all right, thank you.
All right. Yep. As they run under caution flag here, first incident caution of the day on lap 88 in Gateway. Connor Asbell has damage, but doesn't look like it's going to be race-ending damage, I don't think, for the driver of the 72. But he did take a pretty good shot in the wall down the front straightaway. Okay. So, Cole, are you actually taking your final set of tires here?
No, I got damage from, I think during the middle of that last run there, I just wasn't paying attention, and going down into turn 1, I misjudged my braking zone and way overshot the corner and hit the wall, and I actually got an incident point for it, which I'm pretty mad about because I wanted a bonus point for having 0 incidents, but it is what it is. But as long as I get my damage repaired here, we should have a rocket ship.
Yeah, so we got Ashton Miller. I think we'll get the free pass out of all this. That's going to greatly help the driver of the 79. Probably wasn't having too much confidence that he was going to get another caution flag after running green the first half, but he'll be back on the lead lap. He'll come to the choose, I believe, this time by.
Dylan Banks gets his opportunity at this restart after sleeping on the last one.
Yeah, I mean, outside lane. Looks like it kind of gets away good, though. But it looked like Matthew White was just the one that really got away the best out of all of them. Got a great restart through the restart zone, was able to control it. Can he do it once again? We'll be back underway on lap 90 here in St. Louis. It'll be 61 to go, so starting to come to the latter stages of this one. So, fuel situation, the leaders will not pit. That won't change a thing. The only thing it will change is they're saving a little bit under this caution flag, but it won't, I don't think, be enough. We're still going to be about 10, 15 laps short.
Yeah, I did the calculations, about 15 laps short.
And this is what this whole new fuel capacity rule is bringing to the table. As we're going to be back underway this time by, can Matthew White get another good launch? He's got his teammate Braden Hunsaker as a pusher, so we will have to see. Banks on his inside. These two have been dominant so far tonight. There he goes once again, but a little bit better restart for Dylan Banks in the inside lane. He is not letting White go just yet as they head back into 1 and 2. White running the outside lane. And behind him, here is Sean Butler making his way to the inside on Bryce Benson. What a run by the 09 as they head down the back straightaway, snaking their way like Indy cars. Hard battle as Stacy makes his way to the inside on Cameron Chandler. Chandler probably still suffering from a bit of damage from his spin. There's Connor Aswell, actually was able to repair a lot of damage. And then Ashton Miller back on the lead lap. Through 1 and 2, there he is! Bumper. Here comes Dylan Banks, battle for the lead, heating up in Gateway. Banks was able to get around him in the shorter run last time early in the race. What is he able to do this time? I think Matthew might have had a bit of a bobble or something off corner exit somewhere that allowed Banks to get right to his bumper. Both of these drivers, Cup Series champions, two of the best in the business. Oh, White's in the wall. Car on the wall once again, Connor Asbell down the backstretch. Banks, though, once again, looking for the lead. White is up the track. Banks trying to get a good drive under him.
We're going to have a battle going into 1. He's going to get there.
Ooh, he's almost there, but White's able to clear him, but I think Banks was almost able to get to the outside lane, just not yet. Up the race.
He's sort of pushing this short route.
Yeah, longer run pace on Matthew White's car. Didn't look too bad, though, on the other runs. Banks all over the back bumper as they head through 3 and 4. Kind of in that dirty air that's going to start to affect how the nose of that 48 will run around. He gets loose off corner exit. But John Butler inside of the top 5 in the 09. What a run so far for him. Bit more dirty air being packed on the nose of the 48. Benton slightly in the wall. He's up to 4th place. Having a good day. Dirty air for Dylan Banks really starting to affect him. Braden Hunsaker. Oh, as Banks is in the wall off corner exit. I was saying Braden Hunsaker in the 77 running 3rd. We're looking for a home track win. Would be his 2nd win of the Cup Series season. These two in Atlanta, Dylan Banks and Braden Hunsaker, came home in a photo finish. It was so close for Dylan Banks after finishing 2nd. Looking for some redemption tonight in St. Louis. Come back to 55 laps to go this time by. Last couple of laps, Matthew White has been quicker than Dylan Banks.
Yeah, you're slowly increasing this gap as the run goes on.
Don't look now, but Braden Hunsaker may be starting the battle with Dylan Banks for 2nd place. Didn't really think that was possible early in the race. These two, Banks and White, were just running off with it.
I think White has begun to figure out running high up through 1 and 2, getting good run down this back straightaway, packing dirty air on the nose of the 48, not allowing them to run the outside lane, which is the preferred lane through 1 and 2 here at Gateway. It's really starting to work out for him, but we do still have a pit stop coming. And we know how the lead was able to flip then during the pit stop. Oh, White's in the wall. So is Hunsicker. Big slide off corner exit for Benton. Turn 2 has been the trouble spot for a lot of drivers tonight. Still, though, about 7/10 of a second the battle for the lead between White and Dylan Banks. There's the 48, currently running in second place. He led a good majority of the laps in the first half before the first pit stop where he lost the lead. It was still, big blink there, still really hasn't been able to get it back or cover since then.
Have a pretty good battle with Cole Clausen and Connor Aswell.
Battle currently for 7th. How about Cole Clausen continuing to fight and making his way up positions as Aswell runs kind of top through 1 and 2, really up high. That's just going to allow the 71 of Clausen to almost clear, but momentum going to be coming off corner exit, I think, still for Connor Aswell. Clausen back to the inside.
Battle heating up for second place too. Yeah, battle all over. Aside from the lead.
I'm surprised Hunsiker's now. Clausen's going to really drive it in deep, and that'll allow a big crossover for the 72 of Asbel. That's also going to allow Andrew Stacy to get around Cole Clausen. Big mistake for Clausen. Loses an opportunity of maybe taking that position. No! What was that? Bump and run for Braden Hunsiker. I don't think Dylan Banks is going to be too pleased with that. Side by side for second place. Dylan going to drive it in deep, re-clear Hunsiker. Maybe Braden, he's not really, I was going to say for a second, maybe to say sorry. Oh,
in the wall.
Big hit for Dylan Banks. That's going to give him damage. And he's just going to have to let Hunsiker go. What has happened to the 48? Was probably the fastest car on the racetrack, even in the shorter and longer runs. Ever since that pit road mistake, he has been really just falling back. Another big bobble out of the 48. He is really starting to struggle. The 9 of Benson now going to be maybe trying to run him down. It's a Highline Motorsports 1 and 2 now here in Gateway. John Butler back there as well, still keeping in contention. Cameron Chandler running a little further back in 6th. There is Ashton Miller now 1 lap down. I don't think he got the free pass then that map.
Yeah, he was complaining that he didn't get the free pass. He must have had contact with something, because I think if you have contact with something, it doesn't give you the free pass. So I really don't know.
That's weird. We really haven't had that issue before.
I know Fontana, I was gonna get the free pass, but then
Oh, don't want to go in the grass again. This is a little bit of an undercut for Dylan Banks. 46 to go. Coming to 45 to go this time by. He elects to pit. Doesn't want to lose any more time on these older tires.
Is this too early, or could this be in prime position for him? We'll have to wait and see. This is where it starts to get interesting. Dylan Banks on pit road. Nice and easy to his pit stall. So far, all the rest of your leaders are staying out. Nobody elects to pit.
I pitted.
Matthew White. Oh. Matthew White goes to, I believe, put Banks one lap down. There he comes off pit road. And this is gonna be interesting. He's still gonna manage his tires for later in the race, but he's also gonna run hard to try to undercut Matthew White and Braden Hunsicker. It's an interesting time to pit for Banks. There is Benson, still staying out. Hunsicker and Matthew White. But it will not be, I don't think, too much longer before they come down pit road again. Which should be now their final stop of the day. Dylan Banks with his final set of tires for the day. So he's out. And your leaders, once they cycle down pit road, will be out as well. Currently, Matthew White now second place. Braden Hunsicker. What a battle we got going on after third place. Sean Butler. Man, he didn't have any confidence coming in tonight. He's battling for what would be fourth with Dylan Banks, but currently third on the racetrack. He's to the outside on Bryce Benson, trying to find some clean air on that nose. Banks, though, stuck right in the thick of this. This can't be good for the driver of the 48. He really came out where he did not need to come out at all. It's now he's got his affiliated teammate in the way. He's going to move it right out of the way like I expected. He's got to run on Benson. Should be able to easily get around him, but he's still going to lose time after all this. He'll drive around Bryce Benson, who's going to let him go. Class act by both these drivers. To go for Matthew White. Still got a pit for your leaders. White trying to run as hard as he can, but Braden Hunsicker has still kind of kept that gap to about 2 seconds. Really hasn't gone anywhere. Hasn't closed in anything and hasn't really fallen back anything.
Yeah, there's the identical lap times.
They are teammates, so you would kind of expect that out of those two. Of course, there is Hunsicker, the hometown driver. Banks has a bit of clean air for maybe a few laps until he catches Hunsicker. Banks, though, how is the strategy going to work out for him? Pitting early. Is it too early for Dylan Banks, or did he have to surrender down pit road? Is he kind of forced to? But how is the undercut? Is it too much of an undercut where the the long run he really falls off? Still so much to be decided here in Gateway. When will your rest of your leaders pit? Banks. Oh, Hunsicker's sideways in front of Dylan Banks. What a big moment out of the 77. We got to take a look at what happened real quick. What happened to Braden Hunsicker to get him completely loose? He was all by himself. Oh, I haven't seen that all day, especially in the turn number 1. I'm not really sure how that happened. Will he now maybe force his hand to come to pit? He's going to stay out this time by. Kind of surprised by that. That's a big slide out of Braden Hunsicker. And going to be maybe crucial for his race for the win. Oh, Hunsicker's way out. He's got to pit. I think he's really got to pit now if he doesn't want to lose any more time. He stays out again. I'm really shocked by Braden Hunsicker's decision here. These tires definitely after that slide really, really dirty, really really not in good shape. He's going to lose more and more time just by staying out. .36 to go in St. Louis. Matthew, or I should say Bryce bent into the wall slightly down the back straightaway. Maybe a battle still going on between Connor Asbell and 71, or Cole Clausen, of course, actually pitted, I should say. And there is Dylan Banks to the bumper of Matthew White. He's going to hope White hits very soon, but because he's going to lose time for the 7, but he's coming around the outside lane. He's going to have good momentum coming around the outside to try to unlap himself as they head down the front straightaway. He will now unlap himself. Oh, but Matthew's going to get to his bumper. Slides up the racetrack. You can see still fresh tires really prevailing for Dylan Banks. I'm shocked Braden hasn't forced his hand to come to pit road. They are definitely staying out longer than I would have expected, and probably even that Dylan Banks would have expected. Hunsaker on the wall slightly. Like, I don't think there's any way they could make it. There's definitely no way.
There's no way.
We have seen crazy fuel saving before, but I don't think you can even do that tonight.
No, especially with only 1 or 2 cautions after the stage.
This race in Gateway has turned into quite the interesting affair. But will those tires on Dylan Banks go away later in the run? I mean, we're only going to have, what, we're coming back to 32 to go this time by. I mean, it's really not going to be that much longer once these leaders come down pit road. Matthew White trying to...
out there for... Go ahead.
Ooh, bobble. Matthew White trying to push everything he can out of this 7 car. Banks is going to catch the lap car of Andrew Stacy.
Yeah, they've been out there for a little over 45 laps now since the stage.
This is for position on Stacy and Banks. Oh, they're going to run side by side through 1 and 2. Stacy, what is he doing? That was pretty pathetic on Andrew Stacy's part. I don't really understand what that was. Completely runs him up the racetrack. Door slams him when he was clearly a lot faster. White still staying out. Hunsaker as well. Butler, I thought, was peeling off. He will stay out with Benton. There they go down the back straightaway. Clausen, who pitted. Andrew Miller's, who's a lap down. Chandler still staying out. I don't know what Andrew Stacy was doing there. That's just... He's not even in the battle for the win. He's just door slamming the car that's making a really interesting strategy call. It was clearly a lot faster, ripping around the outside of him at like 5 miles an hour faster. But whatever.
I think the pit cycle might be starting. We have Connor Asbell coming off the pits.
John Butler, I thought, was pitting, was the scoring thing was doing that. Okay, here comes Asbell off pit road, like Landon said. So first one to pit in a while. Now Matthew White kind of stuck in some dirty air behind Andrew Stacy. Will he elect to pit now because of this dirty air?
No.
We'll move to the inside of the 94. How much is Stacy going to race the other leader? Pretty hard. Oh, and they almost make contact. Off corner exit. Miller is now pitting. When are they going to pit? Matthews pulling off. This time by, your leader's coming. Final pit stop of the day, Matthew White. Gotta make no mistakes.
Coming in too.
Thailand Motorsports makes the call. They're coming. Oh, Hunticker goes wide through the grass for the 77. And here they come. We gotta watch where Dylan Banks is. Oh, we got a car lose Connor Asbell. Here's Banks. Believe he's heading through 1 and 2. Leaders are pitting. This time by in Gateway. It should be a massive undercut for Dylan Banks, but where will the long run pace take him? Here he comes, heading down the front straightaway at full song. Your leader, Matthew White, just got changing tires. There's Asbell.
Banks is going to overtake him.
Where's Banks? There he is rolling.
Turn 2.
Is he clear? Yeah, I think you overtook him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even see
Big
that.
time.
Hunsicker, White, they roll off. Ooh, that's a wobble. Matthew White trying to get those tires up to temperature. And the gap is about 9 or 10 seconds or so. Oh, Matthew White! Pit road penalty! He's coming back down. This is huge for the driver of the 7, the driver with the most laps led. Speeding on pit road for Matthew White. Absolutely detrimental. And he comes down pit road, and I gotta hope he wasn't speeding again. That is massive for Matthew White. Race win over for the driver of the 7. That was the thing you couldn't do. Speed on pit road, and Matthew White did just that. And he's going to have to do a stop and go. I think. He's still sitting there. He's still sitting there for Matthew White. Chandler yet to pit here in the 8. He's coasting, but he's sick. He's got Banks coming full song behind him, so there's no way. Now 25 to go. He's going to be able to hold on to that. Well, Matthew White is still sitting on pit road. I don't know what kind of penalty this is, but it's probably even more than just a speeding penalty. This is night over for Matthew White. That is so unfortunate for the driver of the 7. My goodness. What could have been? Banks, though, just trying to run down Chandler, who is yet to pit. I think he's coasting? I'm not sure. Got Connor Asbell all over his back bumper as they head down the front straightaway. Okay, that's, I know what they're doing. I know exactly what, oh, no, he's going to pass him. Or not. Maybe he's just going to fall back in line. Truex and Bell did this in real life. Oh, yep. Now he's going to give him a draft. I don't, what do they do? Okay, I don't really know at this point. Because now he just passed him. And Chandler's just going to fall back in.
He's letting off for him.
This is interesting. They're falling back. They're 4 seconds the gap with Banks, who's running full song. I mean, can Cameron Chandler stretch it? It's gonna be. I don't know how he's gonna be able to do it, but can he do it?
I don't think there's no possible way.
I don't know why. If there's, he's got to see something. There's no way he's just saving like this for no reason. I mean, he's got to see. Oh, wait. Remember this. Cameron Chandler had the spin and he pitted. Remember this with about maybe a couple of laps after the halfway break. I completely forgot about that. So he does see something. 21 to go. Banks is about 3 seconds back now. Obviously running nearly maybe a half a second faster every lap time by. But can Cameron Chandler hold on for the fuel? I've completely forgot about that. Who would have thought a spin would have helped out him? Matthew White is back on the racetrack, I believe. Trying to see where he is. There he is. 2 laps down.
I think Banks is going to get right by him. He's running over a second faster.
20 to go still here in St. Louis.
Yeah, White has just ran the fastest lap of the session.
He
He's
is.
gonna need caution.
He is heated. 2 laps down currently. He would need 3 caution flags to get back on the lead lap.
Whether this race is gone, it's not gonna happen.
Don't look good. Where's Braden Hunsicker? We gotta remember him in all of this. He's still back to maybe about 8,
It's about
10.
seven
yeah.
seconds.
But he is running faster than Dylan Banks. We can't forget about that. Because he did, of course, pit later. Much later. About 1.5 now the gap to the lead. Coming 18 to go this time by. This thing is still wide open.
Gap's under 2 seconds.
But Hunsicker closed even more that time by on Dylan Banks. Now under a second now. I think Chandler is it's a matter of time now before Dylan Banks is able to just blow right around him. He just wants to get there. Oh, Banks is in the wall! That is something he cannot do! Chandler still coasting. Banks is losing time to Hunsicker. And Bryce Benson and probably the rest of the field of the cars that pitted. 0.5 of a second now between your leaders. Dylan Banks, he's getting held up in some dirty air now. That's not going to be what he needs. 16 to go this time by. Chandler still in all save mode, right ahead of Dylan Banks. Banks, bit of a bobble off the corner yet again, and he's just got to make sure as Matthew White's coming with momentum as well. This is getting interesting for Dylan Banks. He needs to get clear of Chandler before Matthew White can get there. Up the racetrack, Banks goes through 3 and 4. Oh, there's White. Wade, who's inside on fresh tires. That is not what the 48 wanted to see at all. That is terrible news from him. Now Matthew White to the bumper of Cameron Chandler. And Braden Hunsicker still closing in the gap. And of course he's doing that. And this is really just screwing over Dylan Banks because now Matthew White is all over the back bumper of the 8 of Cameron Chandler. Ooh, he's going to come out on top on this one. And I mean, they are affiliated teammates, Chandler and White. So I'm not really so surprised from this, but Dylan Banks has to be fuming out of this because this is just worst case scenario. Once again pushing him, and Banks is going to have no way to get around. Oh, Chandler up the racetrack. He's trying to get to the inside of Matthew White. Oh, he almost turned him off corner exit. 3 of them in line, but here comes Hunsicker. Banks oh, he's nearly wrecking him. He's not happy. Tries to move him. Where did Connor Aswell come from? White around the outside of Chandler. He's setting off sail. He's abandoning his teammate. Here comes Banks. All over the back bumper of Chandler. Here comes the 77, though, of Braden Hunsicker. Chandler sitting in front of the 48. Hunsicker is there as they head down the back straightaway with 12 laps to go. Banks coming around the outside lane. He's up the racetrack. Here comes Braden for second place. Banks is in the wall, and he's nearly wrecking. And now for the lead. Chandler trying to hold on with those older tires and low fuel load, but he's got Hunsicker who's inside. for the race lead. 11 to go. He is clear. New leader in Gateway is Braden Hunsicker. My goodness. Ten laps to go. Braden Hunsicker takes the lead. Chandler now, that was just worst case scenario for Dylan Banks. He is just not, this is just win opportunity gone for him. Just like that. Can't imagine he's going to be very happy after this race. Nine to go. Now, I think Hunsicker can just kind of set off and cruise. Coming back to 8 to go this time by. The only thing he's not hoping for is a caution. Braden and Hunsicker looking for win number 2 on the year. What a day of strategy it has been. As Banks now beginning to close in on Cameron Chandler. Somehow he's able to save enough. He's been able to save enough. And he's actually running full song through 3 and 4. Hunsicker came into this race with so much momentum after it being his home track. The actual track that he races on in the karts. In the infield is Andrew Stacy in the middle of the racetrack here. He'll now be put a lap down. So this was almost inevitable to try to take home the victory tonight. 6 to go for Hunsicker. And he continues to stretch the lead over Chandler and Banks.
Banks might lose 4th position to Ben right here.
Yeah, he's getting held up by the 8 car, and he's still losing time. And here comes Bryce Benson down the back straightaway. This is also going to make the whole point situation very interesting. White losing points here. Chandler gaining a lot on him. Here comes Bryce Benson on Dylan Banks. Battle for 3rd place going on. Benton to the inside. Through 1 and 2. Banks hit that wall on older tires than everybody else. Tried an aggressive strategy. Looked like it was definitely going to be the winning strategy for a bit. Oh, we got a car in the wall. Connor Asbell. Big hit into the fence for him. Currently is 1 lap down. Just trying to bring it home. Everybody just trying to bring it home.
For second.
Here we go. Bryce Benson for P2 on Cameron Chandler. I know he's one driver that wants to see a caution flag. There he is, looking to the inside. For 2nd on the driver that's been saving and hasn't even pitted onto the screen flag cycle, Cameron Chandler. And he will take 2nd place away. Three to go for Hunsicker. Looking for his 2nd win of the season and career win number 7. His home track for Hunsicker looking to come for 2 laps to go in Gateway. Continuing to stretch the gap over Bryce Benton. What a day of strategy it has been. tonight from St. Louis. Benson to the inside of the lap car of Andrew Stacy. Able to get around him pretty easily. Still, Banks second, or I should say fourth, to Cameron Chandler. Through 3 and 4 for Braden Hunsicker. Looking to take the white flag this time by. It's 1 lap to go in Gateway for the hometown driver. Final lap underway for Hunsicker. What a special win this will be for the driver of the 77. And what a perfectly played strategy for him. Final time rolling down the back straightaway for Hunsicker. Didn't lead the most laps, didn't even lead second most laps, but he's there at the end when it counts, able to take advantage of some insane strategies, and he will exit turn number 4 for a home track victory. Braden Hunsicker is going to win in St. Louis. Second place will be Bryce Benton. Banks just was able to get third from Cameron Chandler, who runs out of gas on the final lap, and he's rolling across. Chandler's out of fuel with 1 to go. Can Cole Clausen get a top 5 finish? He's coming. Here we go. Photo finish.
Go. Let's freaking go, boys.
Cole Clausen, top 5 in St. Louis. And Braden Hunsicker. He's going to get the job done tonight. His 7th career victory, 2nd of the year, wins at home. Hunsicker, winner in Gateway. Braden Hunsicker gets the job done tonight. What a victory. This has got to be probably the most special win of his career. Maybe even just second to, of course, his Chicagoland win that punched his ticket to the Final Four last season. And maybe even, I would say for Hunsicker at least, I'm not obviously Braden Hunsicker, but I would say for him, top 3 wins got to be tonight at Gateway. His championship 4 punching win at Chicagoland, and then, of course, his first win of the year after a tough season at Nashville in Season 2. Braden Hunsicker wins tonight in Gateway. What a race that one turned into with all the fuel saving, all the strategy calls, man. Matthew White, though, what could have been? Had control of the race late, speeding on pit road. And gives the win up to his teammate, Braden Hunsicker. Another what it could have been for Dylan Banks. He will ultimately finish in 3rd. Bryce Benton comes home in 2nd place. What a race all around here tonight from St. Louis. My goodness. We'll have post-race interviews coming up. And we welcome you live to the post-race show here in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series in Gateway. What a night from St. Louis. It's a career win number 7 for Braden Hunsicker. Braden Hunsicker, what a day for you guys. You will win at home, your 2nd win of the season after an insane strategy race to the end. Just take me through what it was like there. Of course, Dylan Banks on older tires, Chandler trying to save your teammate Matthew White getting a black flag on pit road, and all of that going on, and you take how special it is for your 2nd win of the season to be a home track win.
Well, I knew tires were going to be a pretty big factor on the long run. In the first stage, I pitted a little bit after Cameron, and on the long run, I caught him pretty easily, but obviously I made a mistake and we couldn't be able to pass him. But yeah, I mean, it feels great to win here. It's one of my favorite tracks, but it wasn't really fun to drive, if I'm being honest, and it wasn't really fun for anyone else, really. Everyone else was complaining a little bit, but It feels pretty good to win here, and it sucks that Matthew sped on pit road, um, because he was probably gonna win this race. But uh, good efforts to Cam for trying to tire save, not tire save, fuel save. But I knew that no, not new, but I knew that I took him out in turn one on a restart, and pretty sure it was netcode. But even if it was, I'm sorry for Cam. I took him out, but yeah, feels great to win, and looking for looking for a more dominant performance. Chicagoland, also one of my home tracks, so yeah, we're just pumped up for that.
So, of course, your second win of the season. Great momentum now. So it's going to be a big points day for you guys as well. Matthew White finishes 10th. Cameron Chandler finishes 6th. They were top 2 in points. What's going to be your plan to try to reel them in over these next few weeks to get closer for this battle for the regular season championship?
Um, just win races. I mean, I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to catch them in points because they're really good drivers and they're going to be up front battling for wins week in and week out. So the game plan is just to win every race we can and just hopefully win that regular season championship.
All right, Braden. Well, big congratulations on your second win of the Cup Series season. Of course, a home track victory got to be a very special one for you guys. And we'll see you at Chicagoland next week, which is, of course, the track you won at last season to just punch your ticket to the Final Four.
Thank you.
Coming up next is going to be Bryce Benton, who comes home in second place. Bryce Benton, after all of this tonight, you gain spots late in the race. It's going to be a runner-up finish to Braden Hunsaker. Just break it down those maybe last 30 or so laps, all the different tire fuel strategies going on, and ultimately you guys coming home in second place.
Yeah, it was honestly pretty crazy. I was not expecting a P2 after all that happened. That race, that was turning out not to be a great race, and then turned out to be a good finish, which I'm pretty surprised about. Um, but yeah, those last 30 laps, I saw Hunsaker pit, so I decided to pit a lap later. I should have probably just pit when he pit. I could have, but I went another lap for whatever reason, and then I realized I looked at the standings and I realized, oh, it's probably possible to get get P2 or maybe even a win here, and I thought maybe a win was possible because I was gaining maybe a tenth a lap on Hunsaker for a little bit, but then he got around all the traffic, then I had to work around the traffic, and overall he was just gone by then. But yeah, still, P2 is a really good finish considering all the chaos that happened in the first half for me.
So, of course, you enter this race third in the points. This is going to be a big points day for you guys, and of course, Braden Hunsaker. You are going to probably gain a good amount of points on both Cameron Chandler and Matthew White. So, what's your thoughts heading into that? With that all heading into the race number 9 of the Cup Series season in Chicagoland.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely gonna give us, I guess, some momentum into Chicagoland. Obviously, Chicagoland back in the Heat 5 days that gave you a roller coaster of emotions. Obviously, I won the Heat 5 championship there. Then I also lost in Season 3 in that heartbreaking way. But back to iRacing, I don't know. I'm all right at Chicagoland. It's gonna be. I just need to prepare a lot for that because I remember last season in Xfinity, I was kind of mid, and also Cup, I was kind of mid. So we're just gonna have to practice a lot for Chicagoland, and hopefully we can try to get our first win there.
All right, Bryce. Well, nice job, of course, coming home second place. Good rebound after Darlington, your DNF there last week, and we will see you in Chicagoland next week.
Yep.
Next up will be John Butler. He comes home fourth place tonight. John Butler, huge day for you guys. P4 tonight in Gateway. I think it's a career best finish for you as well. Your first top 5 of the season. Just take me through your thoughts. You were gaining spots there at the end of the race. You gained one more spot there on Cameron Chandler after he ran out of fuel. Just take me through all of that towards the end of this one here in Gateway.
Well, it was a peaceful one to say the least. No chaotic restarts, no crazy racing. It's just getting the rhythm, you could say. It just had my spot telling me information, what everyone doing, when to pit, what should I pit for. It was just more just
focusing on hitting your lines, your braking marker, and that's what I did the whole race, and it paid off.
All right, so this is going to be also a pretty good points day for you guys. You entered tonight, I believe, 7th in the points. Pace and Lindsay missed the race because of a suspension. Miller, you may be able to jump Miller as well for P5. What's your thoughts on that as you continue to climb up into the points? Do you think you could be battling for one of these top 3 spots in the points later on that actually awards playoff points at the end of the regular season?
I would hope so. I'm looking forward to the next couple of races. These last two has been a little just more like drive, but some of these races coming up, it's more racy and stuff. More crashes, more more stuff going on. I mean, good point stay for sure. I just need to keep focusing, like I keep saying, keep surviving till the end. Don't wreck you in race. Get stage points. Most importantly, get stage points, and just be there at the end. It's pretty much the whole rhythm till the playoff starts.
All right, John. Well, nice job. Top 5 finish here tonight from Gateway, and we will see you next week over on Chicagoland.
Thank you. I would like to thank my spotter, Baron Glenn Jr., for once again for spottering me. Good spotter. Glad he could make some of these races, do his job. Had a peaceful night today, but it's going to be different next week. Good night, everybody.
All right, so coming up next is going to be Cole Clausen comes home with a top 5 finish tonight. Another driver with their best finish of the season. Cole Clausen, huge points day for you guys. This should propel you guys back into a playoff point situation. Your first top 5 of the year. Just take me through your thoughts on that. You was also in a photo finish near, not actually a photo finish, but a final lap pass with Cameron Chandler running out of gas. Just take me through your thoughts on this towards the end of the race and how it was managing these tires and the fuel after pitting early and coming home with a top 5 finish.
Man, just an amazing day for our entire race team. I mean, last week at Darlington, I had the 5 Christian Leonard spin out right in front of me and got damaged from that, and then got some more damage later on. And man, Darlington last week really had me in the trenches. But coming here to Gateway, getting our first top 5 in what feels like forever is definitely a momentum booster. So can't thank our M&F racing team enough. They always give us fast race cars, but we always just have some bad luck. But when we don't got like 25 or 20 cars in the race, then less idiots equals a better finish for me. So yeah, just the only bad part about this race is that I could have gotten a 0x, but I kind of just had a skill issue moment. But yeah, I can't wait for Friday Night Lobbies to be back tomorrow. Looks like Chicagoland, kind of probably the closest track to me on the schedule where I live. So pretty happy about that. So yeah, and in points, this definitely puts me above the cut line. But yeah, just terrific day all around, and can't wait for tomorrow night. Going to be a fun time.
How much of a confidence boost is this for you guys? Of course, you were kind of sitting with not a whole lot of confidence after kind of a poor start to the season for you guys being below the playoff cut line, but such a huge day for you guys, and you're coming up into some pretty good tracks as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way it'll be a confidence booster is if we continue this momentum. If we go out to Chicagoland next week and we wreck out, yeah, then the momentum is kind of gone. But if we get a top 10 next week, I think we're going to be a pretty good contender going into the middle half of the season. But yeah, definitely a lot less stress about the playoffs now. So really happy about today, and yeah.
All right, Cole. Well, very nice job of coming on with your first top 5 finish of this season. And of course, for Lobbies, we'll see you tomorrow night. And then in the Cup Series, we'll see you on Thursday in Gateway.
Wait, what? Gateway?
All right, Chicagoland. We're not doing this again.
All right.
I promise.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, coming up next is going to be Cameron Chandler. Cameron Chandler, such an interesting strategy day for all around for you guys. Of course, you got spun out there on the restart for the second half of the race. You got a good break by the caution flag. You're able to top off a little bit. Then you went to heavy fuel save mode. You didn't pit under green at all, and the only driver not to, I believe. You went the heavy fuel saving mode, like I said, of course. And then, unfortunately, I think you were holding on to maybe second place. Third place, actually. But you run out of fuel there on the final lap. Just take me through what your strategy call there is and what you saw, and then ultimately just running out of gas.
Yeah. we had a pretty decent car, probably at best top three all day long, and then got turned around on that restart, and somehow that wasn't a caution, and yeah, pretty much from that point on, our race was screwed. So we were in the back. We couldn't. You can't pass here because I mean it's a stock car, and we're at an IndyCar track, and iRacing sucks at recreating this track. So nowhere to pass. So we had to go ultra save, and that was the only option. We had a chance of making it multiple times. It said we could make it, but apparently this car it loves fuel, so just ran out there.
All right, so we're heading into Chicagoland next week. You guys were so good there in both Cup and Xfinity last season. You won the Xfinity Series race to, I think, lock yourself into the championship four, and then you also, I think, finished second, I believe, in the Cup Series race there tomorrow night. What do you guys think you could do there to try to get your second win of the season, and then ultimately try to get into a better situation in the battle for the regular season championship?
Yeah, good to be going back to an actual racetrack and not something terroristic. So it's one of our stronger tracks. So hopefully we can put together a decent run and um at least finish ahead of Matthew and close some more points on him.
All right, Cameron. Well, nice job. Still on the run tonight. Ultimately, strategy doesn't work out there on the very closing laps, but we will see you next week in Chicagoland.
Yep, nice try, Ethan Chandler.
Wow. Okay. Coming up next is going to be Andrew Stacy, 7th place, best finish of the season, by far. Andrew Stacy, I know it's with the smallest field I think we've ever had in the Cup Series, but it's a top 10 finish for you guys and a clean day. 7th place. Just take through your thoughts on this. A huge points day for you guys as well.
Yeah, it's real great. I mean, we didn't have a lot of competition. I went a lap down. Same with Cole Clausen. So I wouldn't get lucky dog, and me and Pace and Lindsay free my boy. He was just like, yeah, you should probably just get the waiver run and try to hope there's a caution. There was a caution. We were for Connor Asbell getting loose and spinning. And we made a dumb call. We thought we could save fuel, but the fuel model here was really weird. You burn around 1.7 laps if you really were just like driving, you know. If you're just driving, 1.7 laps and just one lap. So I was stuck around 5th gear, coasting, clutching in, and going half throttle down the straightaways. So a lot of fun though. I almost saw the battle for the lead, but I was too far ahead.
All right, so of course, coming up next week is Chicagoland. Then we get to more like mile and a halves, and then a Michigan 2-mile racetrack in 2 weeks. So we got some kind of races that even out the playing fields coming up for a little bit more than these tracks do, but still good momentum coming off of a Gateway. What do you guys think you could do next week in Chicagoland to get even closer to the playoffs?
I'm good at Chicagoland. I won't have a teammate to hook into the outside wall this time. So hopefully we can get a good finish there, and the short tracks I'm pretty good at. You know, they call me Joey Logano. They call me Joey Logano.
Okay. Anyways, we're gonna see you next week in Chicagoland. Coming up next is gonna be Connor Asbell, came home 8th. Connor Asbell, I know it kind of got rough with some of the hit the wall a couple times. You will finish 8th place ultimately, but you finished the race for the second time this season. It's your first finish that wasn't a win this season. So just take me through your thoughts on all of that.
First of all, so I was having a good race overall. I mean, I had that one spin, but it was like, it was just my fault on that part. Got that damage repaired. But my PC, my RAM started to quit because I need more RAM to put in my PC. And literally almost every straightaway I was lagging and like blinking in and out. So really my PC just did not want me to finish and give me another DNF. But I just said screw physics and was able to finish, you know?
So, of course, great day for you guys. We're heading into some, of course, some bigger racetracks, 1.5 miles, 2 mile at Michigan as well. And what's of course, you're gonna have to try to rebound for the points. You lost a lot of points, of course, over these last few weeks. What's going to be your plan to try to get even closer into these playoffs?
I got Michigan marked down. Go blue all the way. We're gonna run a Michigan Wolverine car there. But yeah, Auto Club and Michigan are really alike, and I quite enjoyed Auto Club. So Michigan, you're gonna see me running up the front, that's for sure. Chicagoland is probably gonna be a hit or miss, and that's pretty much it.
All right, well, Penn State's better, and we'll see you next week in Chicagoland.
And Penn State's not that good though.
Nice try.
Nice try.
All right, one more interview to go here tonight. It's going to be Ashton Miller. He comes home P9. Ashton Miller, first half of the race for you guys was very solid. You, I think, ran third at one point. You're up inside the top 5 battling. Unfortunately, after you went through the grass that one time, you really could never recover. You ultimately will finish in 9th place after also losing the wave around for whatever reason there. Just take me through some of the struggles you had later in the race here tonight at St. Louis.
I mean, yeah, it was just kind of unfortunate for us because we just got just lost out of turn 2 at one point, and I mean that kind of just screwed our race then. But I wasn't really excited for this race anyways. I knew I was gonna have sort of bad luck, but it does suck. But I mean, pretty sure everyone got points there, so yeah. But still, kind of unfortunate.
So, of course, Ashton is still a top 10 ultimately, but you may lose a bit of points from all of this. I think you're going to still be I think you may be still top 5 in the point standings, but we're heading into some good tracks. Also, we got Michigan coming up in 2 weeks for you guys. That's your home track. You won there in the Xfinity Series. What do you guys think you could do over these next few weeks?
Yeah, I think we're planning to definitely do good at Michigan. Hopefully we can win that, but Chicagoland definitely gonna be a challenge for us. Last year we did somewhat good and we just fell off at the end, so hopefully it doesn't repeat. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for these next couple of tracks. I just kind of want to forget this race. Honestly, it was not my best showing here in the series, but this is what builds racers. They just they learn from their mistakes, and yeah, hopefully we can learn from this.
All right, Ashton. Well, still a nice job coming home. Top 10 here tonight in Gateway, and we will see you next week from St. Louis.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that'll do it here tonight in Gateway for post-race interviews. Of course, we'll go over your top 10 finishers. Braden Hunsaker with the victory. Bryce Benson, the late race pass, comes home second. Very solid for him. Dylan Banks still able to hold on for third. John Butler, Cole Clausen, fourth, fifth. Season best finishes for them. First top 5s of the year for both of them as well. Chandler nearly runs out of the gas there on the final lap. Still coast home the P6 after that long run to the end. Andrew Stacey, best finish of the season for 7th. Asbel Miller, teammates 8th and 9th, and Matthew White, after having a pit road penalty, will come home P10. And that'll do it here tonight from St. Louis. Braden Hunsaker, your winner, of course. Second win of the season. And the smallest field that we've had in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series in quite some time. So, Landon, do you have any final thoughts on this one here tonight?
Yeah, aero blocking sucks. Car's not very good at this track. And I need tracks with banking to go fast.
Yeah, so we'll be heading to Chicagoland next week. Of course, got some big tracks, some tracks that... 3 of them. I mean, Chicagoland was fantastic last year. Michigan was so fantastic in Season 1 and Season 2. And we had one of the best finishes ever in the Cup Series at Charlotte in Season number 3 for the Charlotte 600 after that. And then we have the All-Star break in the middle of that at Rockingham. But that will do it for tonight. We hope you enjoyed. And that'll do it for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series this week. Race number 8 has concluded. Braden Hunsaker, his second win of the season, and of course, then a home track win as well. NASCAR iRacing FedEx Lobbies will return tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You don't want to miss that, coming up tomorrow. And on behalf of all officials, team owners, drivers, commentators, everybody involved making the series and league what it is, we'll see you tomorrow night for lobbies at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for those 3 races then. But for the official series, we'll see you on Wednesday night for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Xfinity Series from Gateway. Good night. Or I should say from Chicagoland. Good night from Gateway.
You really want to go back to Gateway?
Yeah, I always do that. I always say